I think that there's a lot of well-conceived sales roadmaps that have stages in them, and I think that there's two kinds of ways to deal with that. One is stage-based deal management, which means we understand and there's no ambiguity about what a stage means. Like, for example, we're in the discovery stage. Well, listen, don't you do discovery through the whole sales cycle? So, like, how are you in discovery stage? Now we're in the demo phase. All right. So, does that mean that if we do a one demo, we're in the demo phase? But what if we need to do a demo like 5 places down? Or, like, what if it's somebody's first time to do a demo? And they become very ambiguous in what they mean. Versus a stage-based deal management is in order to move from this stage, from stage 1 to stage 2, you must accomplish these two things. And these two things are shown to move the buyer forward, to help guide the buyer to the next things, the next decisions they need to make. The other way is meetings-based. Meetings-based is, to me, the most dangerous type of sales process. So what do you do after discovery, Jason?
Set up a demo.
Set up a demo. After a demo, you set up a scoping call. What do you do after a scoping? Set up a proposal meeting. What do you do after a proposal meeting? You set up a check-in.
Yeah.
And you know what you're accomplishing there? Nothing. You're just doing stuff. Yeah. Like, the reason I want to do a demo is because I completely understand the org chart and I understand the business initiatives that I need to impact through our product. And until I do those two things, I don't want my reps demoing, because the demo can land as generic, flat, too wide, not relevant, or we don't show specific parts that have power. Now, that doesn't mean don't have like a good overview demo to give someone context, because sometimes people need to see where, 80% of us are visual learners. So you do need to have some visual context, but you shouldn't be doing like, hey, let me just walk you through the product real quick. And like the next thing you know, you've done a 30-minute demo where who knows what landed and what doesn't land. Is I think that Catalyst has the best demo in SaaS. I believe that we have that because we understand your business initiatives. We've scripted out a narrative about a person sitting in the seat and exactly what it's like to use it, while describing some of the behind the curtain Wizard of Oz stuff that's going on to let people do. And it soups to nuts. It's from I sit down in the morning to I just completed a meeting where I set off an automation inside of Slack that alerted everybody of an escalation of a at-risk account that prior to that meeting, I only had a few clues what was wrong, and I figured that out. So I think that the meeting-based thing is the worst, because the next step is always the next meeting you think you need, and that might not be what the buyer needs. Versus our stage 1 is map out the org. We call it 3-2-1. 3 people in 2 departments. One of them needs to be above the line. Like, you got to figure that out to see if you actually have like a real problem here anybody cares about. And then what are the business initiatives? What are the things that are on a board slide that somebody is responsible for delivering because the business has already invested time and resources into that? Until you have those two things, you can't go to stage 2. And you know what? If you want to do some other stuff ahead of time, you can do that, but you got to do those two things. And then next goes to quantify business initiatives. So we have to understand like what you're trying to accomplish with the numbers so we can understand, is the problem big enough? And the other one is an eye date. We need to know when you need to implement by in order to receive the benefits that we think that we can get you in a timeline. If you can't do those two things, then you don't get to leave stage 2. And what happens is when you have that consistency, 2 things. One, your reps can get really good at doing those things. They get really good about asking for an eye date. They get really good about quantifying it because they know they have to do it, and they can do it over and over again. And the second thing is you get data consistency. When we lose a deal in stage 2, we know it's probably because we couldn't quantify business initiatives or get an eye date. And so if we see a lot of stuff dropping out in the funnel, we have an idea of what we can do in mass to help people fix those sorts of things. Versus most people's stage data is so inconsistently applied, to look at stage-based conversion is kind of stupid, honestly.